small packs of Tao Tei have been seen in Southern California. 2 recent sightings of small groups of Tao Tei have been reported to local authorities in the Southern California desert. Each sighting was discounted by officials as either hallucinations or drug and alcohol-induced exaggerations. But I have first-hand knowledge of one sighting that didn't get reported to authorities, because it was my granddaughter who saw the Tao Tei, and I didn't want to report it for fear of being called a kook or a nut or a drunk. My granddaughter claimed to have seen 3 Tao Tei near our home in Rancho Mirage while playing on a golf course about 5 months ago. At first, I thought she was exaggerating, but now I'm not so sure. Once I heard that there were other sightings in this area, I had to investigate the possibility that Tao Tei exist and may be here in Southern California. In 2016, China and U.S. filmmakers collaborated to create a film about the legend of the Tao Tei, which included an attack on the Great Wall of China. Is it possible that that 2016 movie was actually a warning? There may be more than we know about this collaboration between the United States and Chinese officials and filmmakers. Is it possible that this legend is true, and that the Tao Tei have somehow returned to Earth to stage another attack? If they are here, how did they get here? And where are they hiding? I tracked down the statements of the 2 men who reported seeing Tao Tei in the last few months. Both provided me with some important clues about the nature of the Tao Tei, including how they possibly got here and where they might be hiding. On June 14th of this year, a man named Robert Radneck, a resident of Slab City near the town of Niland, saw several Tao Tei dive into a mud pot near Highway 111. This location is part of the Salton Sea Geothermal Field. Robert was heading out into the desert to hunt for scrap metal at around 8 p.m. Just as he was pulling off the highway, he saw what he thought were 4 green creatures about the size of a lion crawl into a large mud pot right next to the highway. They disappeared into the bubbling hot mud. Robert reported his sighting to the sheriff, but the sheriff, although he had to take a report, took no further action because Robert had a reputation for drinking too much and making shit up. What if Robert's story is true, though? Do the Tao Tei need a hot volcanic environment to survive? This may be why legends tell of the Tao Tei hordes living at the base of volcanoes for long periods of time before they attack the local populations. Is it possible that the Tao Tei prefer a superheated environment and may even come from a planet with a very hot and highly mineralized atmosphere? This would surely explain the Tao Tei diving into the mud pot. The only known volcanic area in Southern California is the Salton Sea Geothermal Field. There are hundreds of mud pots and a line of volcanoes, one of which erupted only 1,800 years ago. Is it possible that the Tao Tei have found a perfect environment to grow their hive in preparation for an attack on the people of Southern California? If the Tao Tei have truly found a new home, how is it possible for them to have returned to Earth after being destroyed so long ago? I believe the Tao Tei have been able to return to Earth through a wormhole created by a man named George Van Tassel. The last sighting of Tao Tei was near a place called Giant Rock outside of Landers, California. This is also near the location of the Integratron. It's the time machine that George Van Tassel built. Van Tassel was idolized by the UFO community in the 1950s and 60s and lived next to the largest freestanding boulder in the world, known as Giant Rock. George reported being abducted by a spacecraft in August of 1953 near Giant Rock, where he was given instructions on how to build a time machine. Here is some seldom seen footage of George explaining what happened to him.
Jack, this was the result of a formula which was given to me by a man who landed a ship at my airport in 1953. And we put this formula under research, tested a number of experiments on a bench in a good electronics lab in Chicago, and we produced phenomenal results with evidence that we should do it on a larger scale in order to be able to do more with it. And this evolved out of something that started in 1953 into a 4-story high machine that we're working on down here today.
After his abduction, it took him 25 years to finish the Integratron. The Integratron is real, and I believe George was able to activate it on the day of his death in 1978. The Integratron is like a huge Tesla coil with special electromagnetic pathways for a being to walk through and be transported into a time loop or wormhole. I believe George opened a time portal near Giant Rock using the Integratron and created a new pathway to Earth on February 9th in 1978. If this is true, the Tao Tei may have been traveling through this wormhole in small groups for almost 40 years. On the night that Van Tassel had supposedly died, neighbors heard a very loud electrical humming noise coming from the vicinity of the Integratron. And while the humming was heard, a bright electrical pulse was seen by campers at a nearby airport. 2 days after his death, the FBI reported that all of the electronic equipment in the Integratron had disappeared, and no plans or descriptions of the Integratron could be found. It's weird to me that the FBI had tracked Van Tassel for so many years, and they were always watching after him. I believe they may have been the ones that took that equipment and his plans. Is it possible that Van Tassel opened a pathway for the Tao Tei to return to Earth? It's no coincidence that on August 25th of this year, a man named Jason Bradley Cooper was camping near Giant Rock. He heard a strange electrical humming noise and also saw a flash of light coming from the opposite side of Giant Rock. Immediately after that, he heard a low, throaty growl. He crawled into a small opening under Giant Rock to hide. As he peered out into the firelight of his campsite, he saw a green, dragon-like creature about the size of a lion walk into his camp, as if it were searching for something. Suddenly, it turned and ran south. Jason thought he saw several other similar creatures join it as it ran away into the darkness. Is it possible that this was a small pack of Tao Tei traveling through the wormhole? Could this pack, under the cover of darkness, fled to the Salton Sea Geothermal Field, where they joined the Hive in preparation for a new Tao Tei attack on humanity? The recent sightings at Giant Rock and Slab City certainly lend credibility to the possibility of a new horde of Tao Tei. If I'm right, time is running out. We don't have a great wall to protect us. I'm officially sounding the alarm. Will anyone listen? In today's world of misinformation, exaggeration, and lies, I'm afraid that people will not believe my story. Nevertheless, I'll continue to spread the word and look for more proof. I'm sure many dangers lie ahead. Please, let me know if you've had any encounters with the Tao Tei. We can work together to try to save the world.